Hey guys, guess who? Yep, it's Debo again. 9.2, note solving quadratic equations by taking square roots, okay? So the first thing you want to do is get your squared term alone. After you do that, you could take the square root of both sides. Now, this is a lot easier and straight, like more to the point than the graphing, but it does have a downfall if you have non-perfect square roots. Most of these will be perfect, so we will be good. So if you have x squared equal to a number, and that number is greater than 0, which means it's positive, there are 2 real roots. That means that that parabola will cross the x-axis at 2 points. So your answer would be what positive and negative, whatever the square root of that number is. For instance, if I had x squared equals 4, if you take the square root of both sides, you know that x could be 2 because 2 squared is 4, or x could also be negative 2. So you would have 2 answers there. If d equals 0, you're going to have 1 real root. So x would just be 0, because if you have x squared equals 0, the square root of 0 is just 0. That means that that parabola will cross that x-axis once. And then when d is less than 0, there are no real roots. And I told you before in Algebra 2, you'll learn about imaginary roots. But for what we know, it's going to be no real roots, because that would be like a number squared equals, say, negative 4. There's no number that you could multiply by itself to get a negative, okay? So for 1 through 3, it says determine the number of roots. So basically, again, you want to get this x squared alone. So I'm going to add 6 to both sides. So you get x squared equals 6. It's not asking you to solve it, but because this is a positive, you have 2 real roots. And we're just going to abbreviate. Same thing here. Add 4 to both sides. So now you have 3x squared equals 4. We still need to get the x squared alone, so you want to divide by 3. So you have x squared equals a positive number, 2 real roots. It's going to cross the x-axis twice. This last one, you get it alone. Take the square root of both sides. Can't take the square root of a negative, so no real roots. Okay? So if it equals a positive, you have 2 roots. A 0, you get 1, and a negative, you get none. So number 7, what I'm going to do is go straight down so I don't have to keep moving the paper. So you're going to subtract 1 from both sides. So you have x squared equals negative 1. You can't go any further because x squared equals a negative number. So you're going to get no real roots. Same thing here, you're going to subtract 9 from both sides. So you get x squared is negative 9. Can stop there. No real roots. They're the easy ones, right? 11, add 3 to both sides. X squared equals 0. Square root. X is 0. Okay. Here, this whole thing is squared, so you can undo that and undo that. So then you would get x minus 2 equals the square root of 9, remember, could be 3, or x minus 2 equals negative 3. You have to take those 2 into account. Add 2, so you get x is 5. Add 2, x is negative 1. So it crosses that x-axis twice when y equals 0. This is just another way to solve them. Number 8, add 25 to both sides. X squared is 25. You guys should know right away. X is positive negative 5. You can write it 5, comma negative 5, or you could just write it like that. Here, I'm going to add this guy here because it's negative. Okay, square root. So this is a non-perfect square. So what you could do is just say plus and minus whatever the square root of 37 is, 6 point something. But just leave it like that is fine. add 12. I know I'm going a little fast. You can pause me at any time. The last video was really long, so. X squared is 4, so x would be plus n minus 2. Okay, and then these two examples, take the square root of both sides because this is all squared. So you get x plus 5 equals 0. So it is a double root, it means it crosses the x-axis at -5. And then square root of both sides, 2x plus 1 equals plus and minus 5. So you're going to set up two equations. And you're going to solve them. So I'm just going to solve them at the same time. So you get 2x equals 4, 2x equals -6. So you get 2 or -3. So we've basically done these before when we were factoring. Sometimes we just got x squared alone. Much easier than yesterday, straightforward. And then this last one is a quick word problem. It says find the area, or not find the area, find the dimensions. So find what your length and width are. The area of a rectangle, remember, is just length times width. So you would take 5x times x equals 50. So you get 5x squared equals 50. You want to get that x squared alone. So x would equal positive and -10, but you can't have a square root of 10, and you can't have a negative root. So x would be square root of 10 feet, and then 5x would be 5 times square root of 10 feet. So this is the width, and then that's the length. And that's it. Trying to get under 7 minutes. See you guys.